Kakadosh Boker Tov. We're continuing with halachot of Erev PessaH. The truth is, we already mentioned these halachot, but somebody asked me, so I'm going to just repeat them so that way we know exactly what to do on the day of Erev PessaH. This coming Friday, which is Erev PessaH, remember, it is a fast day for the Bechors. So therefore, if you are Bechor, you would have to stop eating by the time of Alot HaShachar. So therefore, you would look in the calendar exactly what time is Alot HaShachar, and then what you would do is that you would start fasting. So for example, you would have it, whether it's going to be on the Friday, would be, let's say, 5:30, right, which would be, that's Lechumra, but really it's 5:47. So therefore, at 5:47, you would stop eating if you are a Bechor. Obviously, it's only for a person that's a Bechor, or if you have a child that's a Bechor, and you're doing it for them. Then what happens is that afterwards, right, once we do the siyum of the Mesechet, we do the siyum Bechorot, so therefore once you partake from the food, you're allowed to continue eating throughout the entire day. That is the first halakha, which is important just to remember. To do it later on during the day, after already the Taanit Bechorot, and already that you have done the siyum of the Bechor, for the Bechors, we have what's called the stopping of the eating of the Chametz, which is going to be at 10:48 a.m. And then we have the Biour Chametz, which is going to be 12 or 4 p.m. So therefore, before the eating of the chametz, you're not allowed to eat chametz anymore. So 10:48, you stop eating chametz. However, though, you're still allowed to benefit from the chametz. After that, whenever time, but it has to be done before 12 or 4 p.m., you do Biour chametz. What is Biour chametz? The chametz that you had in the nighttime, whether it is the 10 pieces, some people have the minhag that they come and they bring the wicks of Chanukiah, some people have the minhag that they'll take the lulav, all these different minhagim, but you'll come and you'll burn it with the chametz. When you're coming and you're burning it with the chametz, it has to be done before 12:04 p.m. Obviously, there's a mitzvah, Biour mishlucho, meaning it's a mitzvah for you to do it more than a shaliach. But if you cannot do that, you could send a shaliach in order to burn it. Once you've already burnt your chametz, you're going to come and you're going to do the kal chamira. Remember the difference in the kal chamira between the nighttime and the daytime, and that the nighttime, right, you're not saying the chaziteh. You're adding in, because in the nighttime, you're not doing Bitoul, right? You're not annulling all the chametz, because if not, the next morning, you can't do Biour chametz on your chametz. So, but once it comes the morning, after you've burnt the chametz, now what happens is you do the Bitoul chametz, that you annul all chametz. Whether you've seen it, you haven't seen it, whether you've burnt it, you haven't burnt it, because now you're actually annulling. So you'll realize the difference between the two languages, between the kal chamira in the nighttime and the kal chamira during the daytime. As we did mention in the previous shiurim, you must understand the Bitoul. You must understand what you're saying. Meaning it doesn't help just to say the Aramaic, right, and not understand a word that you're saying. Whether you're going to say it in Hebrew, whether you're going to say it in English, in French, Spanish, doesn't matter what language, but you must understand what you're saying when you're annulling the chametz. That's very, very important. After that, the next time, which is going to be the time of chatzot. Chatzot is 1:20. Why is it so important to know the halachot of chatzot? Because once it becomes the time of chatzot, you're not allowed to work mitzad halacha. Meaning beforehand in the morning, it all depends on minhag. If there was a minhag in the city that nobody works on Erev Pesach, even before Chatzot, so you're not allowed to work before Chatzot. But if there was no minhag before the hen, so therefore there's no problem that you're allowed to work in the morning, but once it becomes Chatzot, that's it. Now it's very important that before Chatzot you already had, whether it's your haircuts, whether it's your work, whether all these things that you're doing it before Chatzot. If you remember, we did speak about that. What happens if a person forgot, or he didn't do it until after Chatzot, so therefore he's allowed to take a haircut to himself, or to get a goy. But again, the lechatechila is that before 1:20, you finish all the melacha. You finish everything to do with melacha. Why? You have to prepare yourself. You're preparing for yourself for the night of the Seder. We have, as usual, that since it's going to be Erev Shabbat, and also it's Erev Pesach, so you shouldn't be eating from the mincha and onwards, which means the person shouldn't start having a meal later on during the day. Why? Because once you're going to come and you're going to have a meal for the rest of the day, what happens is you're not going to have a full stomach. So therefore, from already going to be from, let's say, 5 o'clock and onwards, you should not come and have any type of a real meal, because again, you should have an empty stomach when you're going to have this halacha of that you should come into Pesach or come into Shabbat. The same halachot apply, that you should come on an empty stomach, not when you're going to be full. The last halacha that I'll mention is to do with matzah. Remember that the halacha, you're not allowed to eat the matzah, which is going to be with the taste of the real matzah that you're going to be yitzei chuvah on the night of Pesach. Mitzad minhag, though, if you remember, we brought down that already from Rosh Chodesh, or we brought down from even beforehand. The first matzah that you're eating is going to be the night of Pesach. So therefore, remember that on Erev Pesach, even though it could be that you're hungry or whatever it is, right, you're not supposed to eat matzah whatsoever. Again, if it's going to be egg matzah or other type of matzah, you're not going to be Yitzhak Chovah, that you could do it mitzad halacha, there's no problem whatsoever. But just pay attention to that in order that you realize what exactly are you allowed to eat and what are you not allowed to eat in the actual times, right, accordingly.